Okay. Okay. Rada, shall we start?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming back. Um, and I was just like telling like Rada and Kareem and Amina that's like hopefully like this like the workshop today will not take that long, hopefully. But like what we will do today, we will continue and build on what we have covered last time. I'm not sure if you had a chance to have a look at the spreadsheet and to just like try to build up something using the sheet. Um, and if not, that's okay. That's fine. Maybe like after we're done with this session today. So what you can do is you go back to the sheet. I will cover some aspects in the sheet today. So you can go back to the sheet and then you start to enter some information. For those of you who already used it, or just not, I mean, like not to complete everything on that sheet, but if it's like confusing or something, just like just wait for now, and then we are going to tackle it like in half hour or something. Okay, and then we have, okay, this is, I was wondering, like, like since like last time, like, is it Soha, Suhaya, Suhaila? And yeah, okay. Yep. Okay, great. Okay, so Asma, yep, that's okay. Definitely you can complete this after today's meeting. That would be great. And in Arabic, Suhaya. Okay, yeah, that's Suhaya. That's good. That's okay. That's really, that's lovely. And yes, I agree, Suhaya, that it needs time, and this is something that we are going to talk about today. Um, and that's let me like like start with this part, and like I'm sharing the PowerPoint right now. And like just to remind you, like why are we doing all this? Like why should I gamify like my classroom? As I mentioned last time, you have different reasons, and like one of them is to motivate students, make sure like they are engaged, especially if you are teaching something that students may not be interested in, and they are not interested in this course or this subject, not because of you, but because it's not a requirement. It could be an elective, it could be something that their parents push them to attend, like so many reasons. So we try to gamify the classroom to add that sort of like spirit and competition in the class. This is what we will do today. Today I'm going to refer to badges and the concept of marketplace and gamification, and how to author a game manual. And then I will end this presentation or like workshop today with how to finalize the leaderboard sheet. When it comes like to the very last point, which is like to finalize the leaderboard sheet, it would be great if you have it in front of you. And if not, that's fine. But just like you may just make sure like you're gonna take some notes or something. Let me start with the very first thing, which is badges. And we have like to gamify not just the classroom, like to gamify anything, you need like certain components. You don't have to use all of them. You may use some of them, like a leaderboard and slash or badges. Badges, like it could be something that you want to use, maybe yes, maybe no, but it's not a mandatory thing. um, like studies have found that badges and leaderboard have positive impact on students' motivation and engagement in the classroom when they are used. Let me start with the very first thing, which is a badge. And the badge is something like what you can see here on screen. And most likely it is an electronic badge. It's an e-badge. which means that it can be offered to students online, and you can tailor this badge by, for example, writing something here in the middle, or you may change colors or something similar to that. But the point is, like, how can I create the badge? And this is what I want to cover now. You need to understand the difference between two things. There is something called badge authoring platform, and there is something else called badge issuer. So these are like two different things. Let me start with the first one, the badge authoring platform. Badge authoring platform means that, like, it is a tool or a platform or a website or any application that would help you create this badge. And there are two ways of creating or authoring like a badge. The first one, if you have like the technical skills and you know how to use Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator, these are like software applications that can be used to create such badges. However, like some educators, and I'd say like many of them, like maybe they don't have this, like, you know, like technical skills, or maybe they have the technical skills, but they don't have access to such software applications. So what you can do is to use an online platform. It's called Canva, and Canva is like, I provided here the URL, that when you click on this, like when you click on that URL, you will be taken to the badges section of this website, and that would help you create your badges and download them as a picture. So that's like badge authoring platform. Now, if you are going to use badges as part of your class, and it's just like kind of individual effort, that's completely fine. And you don't need like a badge issuer. Why? Because you are going to use it like, you know, like individually, you're going to create the badge. And if a student achieved something, you can give that badge by adding it to the leaderboard, like the spreadsheet that I sent earlier, or you can send it by email to them. That's fine. Or if you are going to work on an institutional level, so you will need a badge issuer. What is a badge issuer? It is a place that will announce that students received this badge. Other people will get to know about this badge, and there are some badge issuer that they synchronize the badges with other social media websites like LinkedIn or like Facebook. If you are using a learning management system such as like D2L, I'm not like, there are different examples of learning management systems. We have D2L, we have Blackboard, we have Canvas. So these are different types of learning management systems. Some universities like rely on these learning management systems. I am pretty sure about D2L, and they have a built-in badge issuer. What does that mean? It means that when you create this badge, you can synchronize it or upload it to D2L, and then you can add some conditions. So you would say like, this badge will be awarded to any student who achieve 100% in a quiz, for example. So D2L will do this automatically. So you don't have to track anything. D2L, once any student got 100 out of 100, for example, in a quiz or an exam, so this badge will be issued to that student. So when the student goes to this website, once they open the website, they will find this badge there. And that's one way of doing it, especially if your institution has this learning management system. The badge issuer too, like we have another thing that's called Badger or Credly. And Badger, like, there is no missing E here. It is BADGR, there's no E. And Badger or Credly, they are two websites, and it's like, it's only allowed for institutional subscription. Like the university will subscribe in Badger or Credly, and whenever you award your students any badge, this badge will appear automatically, not only on Badger or Credly, but Badger or Credly, they will send it to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn will show it to employers or people who are like monitoring the like people, or they want to recruit some people. So these are like, that's the difference between badge authoring and badge issuer. And like, again, badge issuer here, that's an institutional level. And the authoring platform, that's like a kind of individual effort. If your institution or the place that you work on are not interested in formalizing the gamified efforts that you are doing. Okay, and okay, I'm not sure, Ghada or Amina, Asma has this question. Where can we get the sheet, the tracking sheet? I'm not sure. Oops, I'm sorry. That's it. We have a question here in the chat, and Asma, I think like you will, I think if you contact like Ghada or Amina, they will be able to send it to you. And Ghada or Amina, like feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But this is
We
like,
have
yeah.
already sent the Excel sheet for those who have registered. So
Oh,
we can resend it, or she can send me her email. I can send it now even.
oh, okay, great. So, yep. Amina, thank you so much. Yep.
You're welcome.
That was so quick. That was so quick. That's good. Okay. So again, like the question here is, do I have to use badges? No, you don't have to. And I am a little bit like in the very beginning, I used to use badges and combine them with the leaderboard. And then later on, I give up this effort to use badges because it takes more and more time to create the badge and then to assign badge to certain people. And I found like students are, and that's again, that's based on a personal and individual observation. Students are more interested in the leaderboard and just to track their names going up or going down the leaderboard. But badges could be one of the options that you can use. The other thing here that's really important, and it adds to the competitive nature of gamification, is marketplace. In a gamified class, marketplace, it's a place, but it is virtual. So in this virtual place, students, it's a marketplace. So so what happens that students will be able to communicate with each other and to maybe trade in some of their points or badges to gain points, especially for students who would like to like boost their position and they want to go up like on the leaderboard. So this could be one of the things that's that can be used, which is like the marketplace.
Dr. Ahmed, there's a question here. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's a question here. Daniel asks if the badges are issued by badges issuer. Shall we get details of the students who receive the badges? Shall we get to know?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, because Daniel, you know what, like it's, you are the one who will tell the issuer what badge to what students should be awarded. And those issuer, what happens, like those issuers, like they have this agreement with some of the influential websites, employers who will be able to see such badges. And but definitely, yes, you will get the details because you are the one who will provide these details to these websites. Like my department, like we have this in Badger. So Badger is our platform, and we have an agreement with Badger. So our senior students, like students who will be graduating like in a few months, we offer them like some badges, and these badges go directly through Badger. They go through Badger to their LinkedIn account. But definitely we provide the details, and like starting from the name of the student, the skills that they acquired, and why they got this badge. So it's it is something that's definitely, yes, you will have access to such details, and you can also modify or give these details to the badge issuer. Okay. And then we have here the marketplace. So back to the marketplace. Again, the marketplace, it is a place that you create in order to have students communicate with each other. The purpose of the marketplace is not to have you as the only controller of the gamified class. No, you are giving some space to students to manage their points. And I want to elaborate a little bit on the marketplace. The marketplace consists of, let me say, like two things, two major like places within the marketplace. The first component is like transactions. And in the marketplace, there is no real money, okay? But I mean, like transactions means that they're gonna purchase some points or sell some points or exchange some points. One of the, I would say like most frequently asked questions is, now, if a student is on top of a leaderboard, why would he sell some points? In fact, he might sell some points in order to keep the rest of the points. Again, based on what? Based on what's so-called price list. Remember, it's a marketplace. So what I will do right now, I will show you like examples of some of the price lists like I apply in my classes. And it would be great if you want to add some of the elements that can be added to this price list. So for example, in this price list in the marketplace, you can get 1,000 points, 1,000 like gaming points, if you submit assignment on time. So if the assignment is due, for example, Monday, 11:30 p.m., so if you submit it like on time, automatically speaking, you will get these 1,000 points. If you are late for 1 minute, you cannot get this. You cannot get these 1,000 points. And that's a very straightforward item in the price list. Another one, if you participate in the class discussion, that's great. So you will get 1,500 game points. And that's, again, another component. And if you score A in a quiz or assignment, so you will get 2,000 points added to your score. And that is more than enough to bring you up in the leaderboard if you score A in one quiz or assignment. The same amount, the same number of points, if you summarize the class content in 60 seconds. And that is something like I end my classes with. Like I was the students, okay, so who will be able to summarize the class content, what I have covered, in 60 seconds? So just imagine that if it is like a 1 hour class or a 2 hour class, and then someone will summarize it in 60 seconds. But here is the deal. It's a game, and you need these 2,000 points. You will need to summarize them in 60 seconds. If you summarize them in 58 seconds or 59 seconds, no, that doesn't count. If you summarize that in 61 seconds, no, that won't count. To get these 2,000 points, like you will need to summarize the class content at the very end in 60 seconds, only 60 seconds. And you can imagine the kind of fun that we have. Like I have some students, for example, like they finish the whole thing in 40 or 50 seconds, and they try to say anything, like just as like fillers, they use a lot of fillers, you know, just to complete the 60 seconds. Like they try to be creative and come up with, you know, like with certain methods or ways to satisfy the 60 seconds. Some of them, they realize that they are very late and just 5 seconds to go, and they start like to speak very, very fast, you know, just to satisfy the 60 seconds. But again, that's according to the price list that we have here.
What is interesting here is that I think it puts the rhythm to the classroom. So you make sure that they get the engagement equally, you have their attention equally divided, and they have a rhythm, they have a pace in the classroom. So this is very interesting, really.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. And they keep like, especially people, especially if there are very very tight gaps or like little differences between 2 or 3 students, and they need these like 2,000 points because that will make them jump on top of the leaderboard. They will be very attentive during this class in order to participate in this summary activity. And actually another point, to submit assignment 2 days earlier. So yeah, the deadline is Monday, for example, but if you submit it on Saturday, you will get 2,500 points. That could be another thing on the price list. If you answer a challenge by other group, like sometimes if students, you split them into groups and then you ask a group to challenge another group with a question or something. If your group answered, all of you will get the 3,000 points. Or could be a challenge by the instructor. So sometimes I provide them something called end of class challenge. End of class challenge, it's it's something like a question, and this question will need them to search or synthesize something like within 5 minutes. If they answer the question really, like if they answer correctly, so they will get these points. Or if there is a monthly challenge, this challenge could be like a mini project, could be a question, it could be something, and then they will get these points. That is another controversial item in the price list, and that's like to report on another player who is using his or her phone during class time. I'm sure that we are all like agree on the impact of phones on students' participation in the class. So they are very busy texting and checking their social media during class. So what happens here is, like, I put this item, and if one of the students report another one, but that should happen in a very, like, not in a hostile way, like it should be happen like in a friendly way. And just, you know, like we agree on something, like they might try to draw my attention like in a certain way. And then again, they have to be creative, so no one will know who reported who, like who reported the other. But again, so this means that you will get the 4,500 points. Why this is controversial? Because I know that some students don't like that, and but again, it's all about the way that you're going to handle it. But it is something that you can use in order to have like a control over the class. Again, be careful with number I. It's very controversial. Sometimes it works, sometimes it creates a lot of disputes in the class. And then you can get this 5,000 points. You see, like now we are moving from 1,000 points to 5,000 points. So the price list is going up. 5,000 points is for someone who will read a book about any of the topics that will be covered in the class and then present it to the class in 10 minutes. If they manage to do that, they will take the points. And more if they teach other students a new concept related to class subject. So if I'm teaching something has to do with like using animation or something, if someone knows something that is not covered in the class and they want to teach other students like how to add texture, how to animate a character or something in a certain way, so they will get more points. Also, sometimes you can link the price list to social media, and you will ask your students, like, if you want bonus, if you want like 6,000 points, so this means that you will teach the public something new, like record yourself in a video and teach people something and then post it to social media. And if you got like 100 views or 100 likes, so you will get the 6,000 points. These are price lists. And again, they are all like they're all things like I just like created, but I'm really willing to know from you. Like, just let me know what other items can you add to your list, and how many points are you going to assign to these points, to these items. Asma,
I just have a question about the last point.
Sure.
Okay. So the last point here, which is the 6,000 points. Teach the public something new related to what you've learned in the class, and then collect 100 views. That's the thing. How would you collect the 100 views or likes? I think it's too high for a course, an ordinary course, when you have the class with 30 students or so, and then you require 100 likes. So how do you know they're going to like it even?
What happens is, like, what I ask for is just a screenshot of their like Facebook post or the video if they post it on YouTube, and the YouTube will show you the views. And it is something that they will never get it in 1 day or 2 days. It is something that they will need to do it like early enough so people can watch it, especially if they post it on YouTube. The point is, like, I'm not expecting the views to be from the class, but it would be from anyone out there anyone who has access to YouTube or access to Facebook or something like a social media platform that the person will use to post that video. So it's something
this
like,
is a sub skills. You're going to ask them to use the keywords that would mostly generate traffic for their views, because I mean, this is something that counts in their coursework. So.
Exactly, that's right,
What do you
Lada.
think?
And that's right, because as you can see, there are 6,000 points, because there are, as you mentioned, there are like many sub skills that will need to be addressed before they do it. First of all, they will need to record a video, and if necessary, they will edit the video. They will need to prepare materials, and they will need to know how to explain these materials, and they need to support the videos with maybe pictures or images or something. And also they know when and how to post the video. They're gonna market this video by sending out to their friends or something like, oh guys, watch my video, it's about whatever, it will teach you whatever. So you can see, like, they will have to go through different steps in order to get these views or likes, and most importantly, to get the 6,000 points. Okay, so what I would like you to do, like, I want you to look at this price list. Now, I want you to, like, try to think of one item to add to the price list. Like, how many points are you going to offer your students, and in return of what? What should they do in order to get these points? Again, it's like a marketplace. It's as if you are in a marketplace. So how would you attract students to gain such points? Think in terms of your class. What are the things that you wish your students to take care of? And if they do so, you will give them points. Like what? Asma, 2,000 to self-study for a new related topic. Definitely, yes. Thank you. That's a very good point, Asma, because by offering them these game points, it's not just about the self-study, but you are teaching them autonomy and independence, so they can go and they can teach themselves something. That's a wonderful example, Asma. Yep, that's correct. It's 2,000 points to self-study for a new related topic. Okay, yep, that's perfect. What else? What could be other points? Daniel, that'll be 1,000 points, responses or interaction in online classes. And that's, you're right, which is equivalent to participation in a face-to-face class. But yes, responses, interaction in online classes, that's a very important thing. And 1,000 points is like, yeah, that's a very, very decent number. That's a good one. Yep, I totally agree. Think of Zoom and your classes, your online classes. What items will you try to use to have students do something? Nisreen, 2,000 points. Read the required materials before class and write a reflection paper. Nisreen, I like the item. The item is so good. They're gonna read materials. You're right. This is something that we all, I believe, like, we all have issues with, that students come to class without reading the materials, and then write a reflection paper. Okay, but Nisreen, don't you think that 2,000 points or 2,000 game points for doing all this is a little bit something like, I don't know, like maybe we need to increase a little bit the number of points. Of course, you are the expert, but but I like the item itself, and that was like a really good one. Oh, Asma has here, like she mentioned, the 3,000 for the most difficult question they think no other classmates can solve related to the topic. Okay, very good, Asma. That's a good item. And what I like about this item, that yeah, they will learn something here, because if you think that no one can solve this and someone did, that's a very good, that's a very good thing. And how I visualize this, Asma, is if I, as a student, if I pose this question and no one answer it, so I will get the 3,000. But if someone answer it correctly, so that person will get the 3,000. Wow, that's a very good interaction. Yep, that's a very good one. And Huda also has this 1,000 point to participate in group work, speaking activity. Thank you, Huda. That's right. That's a very important item that can be added to the marketplace or to the price list, to participate in group work. Because sometimes when you form groups, there is always that student who would like just observe the rest of the group without participation. So that would be a good way to motivate that person. 3,000 points, that's by Daniel. 3,000 points, volunteer responses to classmates' doubts. Very good, Daniel. Like, that's very innovative. You're right. When you respond to classmates' doubts, of course, provided that you will be there, because they might give some answers that will, you know, like deepen the doubts. But the fact that they try to answer each other's, that will be great. I truly like this. So it's not just answering questions, but yep, classmates' doubts or any uncertainty regarding the topic. These are, so again, like the price list that I'm putting here, it's up to you. So you can put this, like you can add whatever you want. You can like add any points. That's completely fine. And again, like these things, they have their place on the spreadsheet that were sent to you earlier, and I will show you how to include them. But this price list must be like very clear to students and they all understand it. There is something that you need to know, and I'm sure that you have like maybe some of you saw this in the spreadsheet, something called hazards. And in terms of gameplay, hazards means something that prevents you from achieving your goal. And if you are like into games and like Mario or Super Mario, so you know, like Mario like keeps jumping and running, but if he's stepped on something and like he will lose points or the game will be over. So these are hazards. Hazards are things like obstacles that will prevent you from achieving the like your goal. Hazards in our class, if you want to apply this to our class, you can add some hazards. For example, and again, number A, just like there is here like a disclaimer / warning, number A is a little bit controversial. If you have a student who is silent all class time, so this means, as you can see here, the number is with the minus, so that will be minus 100 points. So this student will lose 100 points. Again, why A is controversial? Because sometimes we have students who are like, they are really good, they understand everything going on, but they are introverts, like they don't like to participate, or maybe they are hesitant to participate. So it would be unfair to apply like, or to deduct 100 game points. Again, that's not an like grade points, that's like game points. So it's unfair to deduct like game points from that person. But again, if a person that you know that he or she can participate, but they choose to be silent, so we try to encourage them indirectly to participate. And if they kept silent, so like 100 points will be deducted. Another hazard could be side talk, which happens a lot. So if 200 points were deducted from or taken away from students every time during the day, like during attending your class, 200 points. If again they are minus 200 points because of the side talk, so that will be good, because this, like if they talk like during your class, if your class is a 1 hour class or 2 hour class, and then they talk like for 3 times, So this means like 600 points would be deducted. And also another hazard that you can add to your class is playing with phone or computer. So that would cost them like 1,000 game points. Again, it's minus 1,000 for just like playing with the phone or computer, like checking their emails, or maybe chatting with other people, or maybe like checking their social media posts, or posting something on social media during your class. So that will cost them 1,000 points. Also, if like late to office hours, like if you have your office hours, like for example on Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and someone is late to the office hours, of course they are more than welcome, but like some points will be taken away from that person. Again, what kind of hazards can you add to this list? Things that you will use to like take out some points from students.
Like not participating in a group, for example, if there's an activity, classroom activity, so you're doing all the breakout rooms and everybody's doing the work, and you have the silent person.
You are right. So not participating in group work. And I I truly like the idea of focusing on group work, because yes, sometimes group work is unfair to some students, because some students do the work and others like they don't want to participate. You're right. And we have here yes, using inappropriate language. Asma, that's a very good addition. You're right. Using inappropriate language in the class, or also Daniel mentioned like minus 500 if unnecessary talk in chat box. You are right. Daniel, you are focusing more on the online, which is something I truly like you're focusing on the online instruction. And Huda has this a talk in the turn of the, oh yes, you are right, just interrupting their friends without permission. You are right. So that will take out. And just like Hoda and Asma, let me just draw your attention that these points should be in the minus. So they are minus 500 and or minus 300. I know that you have mentioned that they will be taken away. That's fine. But that's right. That could be also another thing that you can add. So in this way, they will not feel like they are kids. Like you are not taking away any points that will impact their GPA or their grade in your class, but we are putting it in a form of a game. But it could be something like a warning to them, like, yeah, like, yes, I'm taking away some game points, but they will need to be careful, because maybe like if they keep losing points, that might have an impact on their GPA, or that might like have a negative impact on their participation points in the class. So yes, these are hazards. And yes, Hoda, you're right. We're trying just to put classroom rules in a gamified way or gamified manner. You're right. And Rahab has this. I have noticed students that may, yes, you're right. Those students, I totally agree, Rahab, you're right. And maybe you could take away more than 400 points if you wish, because these students, like, they are not contributing to the class, and at the same time they are not allowing other students to focus on what is going on in the class. And yes, that kind of students, you're right, like this item is a very important one in the list. I agree. uh okay, great. So the thing that I want to like to focus on is to create a game manual. And why creating a game manual is important? Two reasons. The first one is you need to be very transparent with your students and tell them, like, that's not just a kind of activity that I will give you some points because of that activity and that's it. It is a game that will start from the very first day of our class until the very last day of that class. So you will need to create a game manual. So you will show them that it is a very important thing. It is something that you will need to consider. And if someone managed to be on top of the leaderboard from the very beginning till the very end, that's a really good thing. That's a very good thing. But the very first thing that when you create a game manual, we know that like we all distribute the syllabus on the very first day of the class. It would be great if you also distribute the game manual, like you print it out and then distribute the game manual and give it to students. But the very first thing that you will need to write on the game manual is this, that this manual is not a syllabus. And you need to put it in a very big font. And you will need to choose a color that no one can miss it. That's a very important thing. This manual, this game manual, is not a syllabus. Why? Because students cannot come at the end of, they cannot approach you at the end of the semester and tell you like, you know what, I'm on top of the leaderboard, but I got B in your class, which is, yeah, that's fine. You are a wonderful gamer. You did really a good job, but you got B at the end. That's syllabus. B means that you got B in the syllabus. But if you are on top of the leaderboard, that would be in the game, which will be different. So that's something that's just I want to start off with, which is like just to make sure that students know very well that the manual is not a syllabus. That's a very important thing.
Actually, like a student, I just like had in mind that doing well in the game is an indication that I'm usually doing well in my coursework as well. So it's very hard to tell the students that you're going to enjoy the game and do everything and get the scores and the badges, but that does not secure coursework for you. That's strange.
That's yes, that's correct. But you know, like the game like has like ups and downs, and the leaderboard has ups and downs. And maybe yes, they are doing very well, but in the very last 3 weeks, they are not doing that good. And that's the point. Like, or maybe the leaderboard ended 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the end of the class. So this means that they still have final project to submit. They still have like final exam to take. So all these things play a very important role in deciding.
So you mean it's like part of the assessment, so it does not align with everything in the course, but the gaming here goes for whatever calls for class participation maybe. So that would be 50% of the coursework.
That's
something like that.
Right. And that's a very valid point. Like honestly, this would be my 2, 3. This will be my 4th year applying gamification in at least one class that I'm teaching, and I have never seen a student who is on top of leaderboard and received like less than A. Like I've never seen that. But I'm just trying to be like very very clear, very transparent with the students to tell them like that is a game manual, that is not a syllabus. I'm not sure, but one of the things, for example, we have something called a process that is called grade appeal. And grade appeal means that if I give grade to one of the students and he or she is not happy with the grade, they will need to check with me. And if they are convinced with why I offer them this grade, if they are convinced, that's fine. If not, they will need to escalate it to the department chairperson. If not, they will escalate it to the dean. If not, they escalate it to the provost. And that's a legal procedure. But the point is, this, like to escalate something like this, they will need to have the syllabus as a document. Like they will need to say that, yes, so Dr. Ahmed, for example, mentioned this in the syllabus, but he was not committed to that, like for example. But they cannot give the game manual to the department chairperson or to the provost and tell them like, oh yeah, like I should have got A because I was on top of the leaderboard. No, like that's why it's very, very important not to have students like get confused. And Asma she has a very good question. Can we do a pretest using gamification? The pretest can be part of your gamified class. Definitely yes. Yes, that could happen, which means that you will put the pretest, and then on the spreadsheet, you can have a column for that pretest. And for those who achieve A in the pretest, they can get 200 points, 300 game points. Yep. pretest can be part of your gamified class. And this question is also really, it's really good, and it is important because, again, remember that the purpose of this workshop is to show you how to create a gamified class, not a gamified activity, not a gamified quiz, not a gamified materials. Like, no, it's the whole class. So it starts from the very beginning till the very end. When you create the game manual, you're going to start with section number 1, which is you're going to explain the game briefly. And to explain the game, it means that you tell them what this game is about, why you are doing this. It's because you want to have all of them like engage in the class, and like you put any explanation that you feel students will need to know about this game. And you will need to focus on the idea that it is a game and we are trying to all together to have fun during this semester. In section number 2 of this manual, you will need to explain the game points, or the XP system. And the game points means what? It means that you are going to explain the spreadsheet. So you will tell them like our point system will be based on 4 assignments, 4 quizzes, 5 extra miles or rewards, 6 hazards, 7, like you keep telling them what this game, like what are the areas of the game that we are going to compete through. And that means like the point system. And also you will need to tell them how many points are assigned to each one of them. Because some students, for example, they will focus on finishing a book, like they're going to read a book and present it to the class, because this means 5,000 points. So they would say, okay, I wouldn't care about any other activities, but I would care about finishing that book and presenting it in 10 minutes. Okay, that's fine. So it's very important to tell them what are the activities or what are the elements of the class and how many points for each element. So they will be able to take their decision what elements to participate in and what other elements that they may ignore or may not be interested in.
So that's interesting. I mean, it's up to them then to choose their competences. It's up to them to engage the class the way they like it. It's
Absolutely.
like the marketplace. Yeah, it's very nice. It's very nice.
Yeah, and I have a student, like he's very smart. Like I had him in 2 classes over 2 semesters. And like he always like does the same. Like he focuses on the items, like instead of spending time, like for items that will get him 500, 200 points. No, he focuses on items that will get him 6,000, 5,000 points. At the very end, he will end up with a very decent score in the game. And he just like did 2 or 3 things, and that's it. So like the mentality of the person as a gamer is different from the mentality of the same person as a learner or as a student. So they start to, like to see which activities they want to be part of and what other activities that they don't want to participate in. But Ghada, yes, you're right. It is their decision at the end. And section number 3, you will need to explain the idea of the marketplace, which is price list. And the price list, like what I have listed down, like what would happen if you present something in the class? What would happen if you summarize the class content in 60 seconds? So they know about this price list. So they decide on the points that they will compete in. And also you will need to explain the hazards. And hazards here, like it is things that will take away points from them. So don't be involved in like side talks. Don't check your phone every now and then. So these are the don'ts, like the hazards. So you will need to explain them very well. So that would be the game manual. And I believe that I have this. I think I can share it here. Yes, this one. So that's, for example, like this game manual. I used this game manual in 2018, I believe. So this is how the game manual will look like. and it starts about like that's about the game, and like that's the cover. So it's like a like I design it in a way to be like a pamphlet. So that's the cover, and then I put here, this is not a syllabus. I made it very clear, and the name of the course, it was like game 220. That's the name of the course. And then I put like how the leaderboard will look like in the middle, and that's the beginning. That's like about the game. So just I explained how the game will look like. And on page 2 of this pamphlet, I have the system. So these are like the price list and the point system. And in that class, I had like level 1, level 2, level, like if you got 30,000 points, so you will get a badge, and this means the beginning of level 2. And if you got 50,000 points, so you will get another badge, and then this means that you're starting level 4. And then we have here like the marketplace and the something called price list. Price list, like I used, like I printed out like currency, but it's just like an imaginary currency, and it has the logo of the university. And this is like because they can use this currency to do this price. So this is like an example. I can send you also this example, so you can use it as a guideline if you want to come up with your like your game manual. Okay. Now it's time like to walk you through the spreadsheet for those of you like who were not like or did not have time to look at it. And that's the spreadsheet that's like I'm zooming out here, so that's why like it looks like so these are the areas. And again, like feel free to add any other areas, but your gamified class will be based on these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5 areas. In class activities, so you can offer some points, assessment for any assignment, project, quizzes, or anything. Absence, if the field is in red, so this means that points will be taken out. And then rewards, as I mentioned, like the price list. Rewards here means like, again, if they walked extra mile, if they do something that is not required and listed on the price list. So it is something like if they studied something independently, yeah, so that would come under rewards. And then we have the hazards. Hazards will be things like they will do like, you know, like any sort of disciplinary action that you will take a student who is interrupting the class or something, so that will come under hazards. And then this sheet is designed in a way that when you add the points here, it will calculate the points, and it will show the rank of the student automatically. Let me zoom in. Okay. So what you need to do, you're gonna start with the class name. So you're gonna just put the class name and then your name. So you're gonna start with that. And then the student's name will be like copied and pasted from whatever, like the class list or something. So you can list the student's name, and the sheet is designed like to accommodate 200 students. So you put the student's name, and then you're gonna put like the number of the week or the class or the number of the class. Like for example here, if you decide, again, like you can modify the sheet. Let's say that you are going to play this game based on weeks, not class number. So okay, that's fine. Oops. And oh, Hannah, so let's say hi. And I'm just like going over the chat, and I would say like hi. She's truly missed. And Sahar was saying hi. Also Sahar. Wow, that's great. Okay, so back to the sheet. So we have here the student's name. And again, please feel free, do not take this sheet as is, modify it in a way that will accommodate or address the needs of your students in the class. My personal experience is I always play this game by week. So I would delete this and then I will put the number. So this means that's going to be week 1. And again, so this means that this student in week 1, when covering this learning objective, will be assigned the following points. If you are not doing it by class, so this means that you are going to delete the week, and that will be class number, which is like class number 1, and then class number 2, whatever. So so that will be something that you can modify, and it's up to you. Also, some, I would say, like some people may not prefer to be committed to a certain class or a certain week. So what they will do is that they will delete this and they will keep this empty, which is fine. So in other words, you are going to gamify your class, but you don't want to be committed that every week or every class, I'm going to give points. That's fine. You can do that. That's completely fine. So just include the name and leave this blank. Any column that you feel that is not necessary for your context, that's fine. So just delete it. Again, what are the learning objectives that you are covering? If you have learning objectives, fine. If you feel like, oh no, like that's a little bit confusing to me as a person who controls this game, so you can just delete it. Like deleting these 3 columns, column A, B, or C, this will not affect the calculations at the very end. So now let's go back here. And again, any numbers, like starting here, starting from the in-class activities. So any number will be added automatically. And let me here give you this demo. So I would say that's my name. I'm one of your students. And what you need to do to prepare the sheet, just keep in-class activities the way it is, and then replace these activities with, or these cells with the name of the activity. So in-class activity 1, so let me replace this with, like I would say, speaking activity. And then that's very important part here. It's out of how many, like how many points, not grade. I'm not talking about grade, I'm talking about points. So how many points here? How many XPs? Like, is it going to be like 200? That's fine. And then that would be, instead of in-class activity 2, I will do it as listening activity. And remember, it's the game. Like not every single activity will need to be included in the sheet. No, like it's, you can choose the milestones, like activities that are really, really important. And you feel that students will need to do these activities and like do them really well. And then you assign the number of points. And I would say here 300 points. And the same thing for activity 3, 4, 5. So you will replace them with the name of the activity, and you can change these names. Now let's see if Ahmad in this one, like he just scored 100 points. And then the listening activities, he scored 50 points. But in classroom activity number 3, he was really great and he scored 200. 4, he was still great and he did 200. And class activity 5, he scored only 10 points. You just keep adding points. And again, these are game points. And then in the assessment, it's the same thing, like same mechanism. It's you replace this with, I would say, quiz 4, because quiz 4 is really special and I want students to focus on that quiz. So for those who will do really great, they will get 500 points. And again, assessment 2, this could be like a midterm paper. And for those who will get A in this paper, they will get 300. And same thing, let's say that Ahmad in the quiz number 4, he got the 500, and in the midterm paper, he got the 300. Now, as you can see right now, let's have a very quick look at the very end. Calculations are going on, and so far Ahmed gained 1360, which is like 1,360 points. 1,360 points. And as you can see, this arrow means that he is going up in this leaderboard. He is doing great in the leaderboard. Now let's continue with the same person. And then absence 1, absence 2, and I would say if you are absent for one time, so 50 points will be taken out because it's in red here. Anything in red means that it will be like minus. And then absence number 2, so you will lose 100 points. So let's say that Ahmed was absent for 2 times, so this means 50. And then he was absent for the second time, so that will be 100. Now let's have a look. So far, he lost 150 points, and the total has become 1,210. However, Ahmed is still really doing great because, again, this arrow is up. He's doing really great. Also, I want you to have a look at these like bars, and they are all filled with blue, which means that he's still doing great. Now, in the rewards, reward number 1, again, these are the extra miles, like the price list that I introduced earlier. So I would say that would be like book presentation. And this means, let's say 500 points. So that'd be an extra mile. That'll be like a reward. Reward number 2. So that could be, again, social media post or learning post. And then I got certain points here. And then let's say that, no, I did not achieve anything. I did not do this book presentation. And I did not do, like, I did not walk this extra mile at all. I got 0 on all of them. That's fine. Did that affect my grade? No, I'm still really doing great. But now let's see the hazards. And while I'm typing in here, I want you to have a look at these 3 columns, especially the arrow and these bars that are filled in blue. Now, let's see hazard number 1. And I would say hazard number 1 is side talk. And let's say that Ahmed, the example here, that he is a person that he keeps talking to people just like, you know, like anyone beside him, in front of him, behind him, like he keeps talking. So I put, like, if you did this side talk, so you will lose 500 points. And Ahmed was really doing great, just to remind you, he was really doing great in the assessment. He was doing great in the in-class activities, but now he is talkative. The side talk, and it cost him. And again, while I'm typing in 500, please have a look at this part of the sheet. And then here, that's 500. Now there is a change. He lost more points. As you can see, this arrow means it's not up, but it means that he is not up, he's not down, but he is keeping his position in the leaderboard. He's not going up. But now we found out that Ahmed is still like, let's say like phone use. And phone use means 2,000 points. You are very strict, and anyone who will use the phone will lose 2,000 points. And Ahmed, the one in our example, he decided to use the phone. He's always on his phone, chatting, posting something, whatever. So you put 2,000. So before I press tab or enter, I want you to have a look right now. The position of Ahmed right now is 1,360. He lost 650 points. He's still doing good. This arrow was up, but now it's in a horizontal direction. And as you can see, these like bars, they are not in blue anymore. Like half of them would be in blue, which means that things are not really good. And again, I lost 2,000 points. Let's see what would happen. Now we don't have any blue bars, which means that my curve is going down. You see, this arrow is down, which means I have lost minus 1,290. If Ahmed approached you as an instructor and he told you this, he told you, wow, I was on top of the leaderboard and now I'm going down and I'm not on top of this leaderboard anymore. What should I do? What he will need to do to go for the rewards, and I would ask him to, let's say, okay, read a book and summarize the book and summarize it. So that could be one of the rewards. And then I would tell him, if you did so, you will gain 5,000 points. So, like, assuming that Ahmed will comply, so this is what he will do. He will read the book, he will present the book, summarize it, or whatever, and then he will earn these 5,000 points. Now, before I click or I press tab or enter, I want you to have a look in the position of Ahmed in this leaderboard right now. Right now, the bars are empty, they are not blue, and this arrow is going down. But he gained these 5,000, and he is back now. And the arrow is up, and they are all here filled with blue color. And if Ahmed, like, he read the book, but his summary was not that good at all, and he got only 2,000 points, okay, that's fine. So he is better, like the arrow is not down. And in fact, I personally use these arrows at the very end for students. Like, sometimes you end up in your class with students who, like, for example, if the A is from 90 and you have a student who got 89 or 88, we always have this question. Should I give that person like 2 points and then he is 90? Or should I keep him or I keep her as is? What I do, I always go to this sheet and I see the arrow. If the arrow is going up, definitely I will push them to the A. If the arrow is still like that, so in this case, no, I will keep them the way they are. Or even if it's down, I will keep them the way they are. I just want to show you also another status here. If I add 1,000, nope, okay, let's see, 500. Okay, so it's either down or it could be CAT 300. Okay, so like whenever you add any points here, they will be added automatically to the points. Keep an eye on these arrows, whether they are up, horizontal, or down, or and also keep an eye on these bars. Just let me, like, this is how the bar will look like. And if the hazards that the phone use, for example, is 1,000, you see, like, all the bar here would be in red, would be in blue, which is good. If it's, let's say, like 3,000, there is no blue color at all, and this means that this person is facing like hard time in this course. Okay, we have here, okay, Danielle, last class you have suggested that the difference of points should be minimum like 3 to 5. Now it is nearly, yeah, difference. Which one? Daniel, yeah, that's a very very good comment. I truly like it. Yes, I still like, I will hold into my argument last time that you will need to keep the difference like a minimum like 3 to 5. That's fine. But what I did here, because I do it like, you know, like quickly, so just I'm trying to give, you know, just an example. So that's just an example what I'm doing here. But in fact, like when you craft your gamified sheet, yes, you need to stick to a minimum difference. That's a very important thing. And yes, you're definitely correct. Like I agree with you. We need to keep the minimum 3 to 5 points. That's completely fine. And then, as I mentioned, like the rest of lists at rank, it's like if I understood the question correct, so Asma, what happens like when you add students? So we have Ahmed, Ghada, and Kareem, Amina. So if you add names and then you keep adding these points at the very end, you will like each one in this sheet will have the points that they gained, the points that they lost, but the most important thing is the total. I'm not sure if I understood the question correct, but any students that will be added, you have up to 200 students to be added to this list.
No, I just mean the other column in rank, other columns in rank beside the yellow one.
Yeah, like
Six.
these are columns. Oh, yeah, thank you so much. Yep, you're right. Like these columns, they are, I don't know, like I want to have rank as like a big big font, and then I merged these columns together. But no, like these columns, like they are not functional. Like yeah, they will not. We just focus on that yellow one. But yeah, but these ones, like it is like just a like a bad design on my part.
Thanks for the great sheet.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. So do you have any questions on this sheet? But just remember, again, in this sheet, you will need to replace these words like hazard. You need to replace them with anything that you will need to add. And the rewards, again, reward 3, reward 4, you will need to replace them. And don't forget, like between brackets, you will need to add how many points. Same thing, absence, you don't have to change this, like absence 1, absence 2, that's fine. And assessment, you will need again to replace it with what assessment tool will be part of your game. You don't have to include all the assessment tools in your game. You just choose the key or the major assessment tools. You don't have to use all the 5 columns like under each title. You can use 2 of them, 3 of them, 1 of them, all of them. That's completely fine. But don't forget to replace the in-class activity with the name of the activity itself. Okay. Do you have any questions?
I think this sheet is very interesting because we're going to use it for both ways. We'll use it because we'll highlight the ones that will align with the coursework. So it's easy for us to use it as the sheet for the coursework. And still we use it again to issue the badges and to keep track of student motivation, their level of engagement and other stuff. So it's nice.
Yes, Ghada, yes, I support this argument 100%. And you will find that by the end of the semester, this sheet will solve a lot of problems, or not solve, like, but it will give you answers to a lot of things. For example, students who are always late and they ask, why would I, like, why wouldn't you give me any extra work or anything? So when we look at his or her rank, we will find like they're always late, or something. Also, as I mentioned, you don't have to include every learning objective or every assessment. You just choose the key assessment tools or the key activities, not all of them, just the key ones. And that's why if someone is not gaining points in these key assignments or key assessments or key activities, so this means that his contribution or presence in the class was not that effective.
It's really nice because it has the documentation of everything going on in the classroom, and it makes the online thing more lively because they know they'll be rewarded for so many things. It's
Right.
a real interaction.
Yeah, that's correct. And it's something that's, yeah, it is something that also you can build on if you want to investigate, like the performance of students. So that will tell you a lot.
I'm a bit curious, Ahmed, what do your students think? I mean, can you just like recall a comment or two? How do they feel after they go through this?
Like in the beginning of the semester, it's they are a little bit like students who already who have been through this experience before, they know about it. But new students, when they start this for the very first time, in the beginning of the semester, they're a little bit reluctant to participate.
Uh-huh.
and then they start to participate in this like in this game. And towards the end of the semester, it becomes really fun and very competitive, and it always have this pattern. So in the very beginning, they are reluctant, they are not sure exactly what we are doing, but then later on it becomes like very I say like it's a live like document. So it is something that they always want to see, and they want to see like their performance. And okay, yeah, I'm just looking at the chat box, and okay. First of all, so Asma, I hope to learn about game. Yes, learning about games is very interesting, especially for children. But Asma, you need to decide first. Do you want to develop games, or do you want to use games as a learning tool? Because these are two different areas. However, there are like sources for each one of them. So, but you need to think about like, do I need to develop or to use just like existing games as a part of my class? If you're gonna use it in the classroom, there are like couple of books, and they will help you a lot doing so, and they are all about like using games in the classroom. I will, let me just take a note of that. So I will send Rada like the name of the books, and I think that would help. Okay. And Danielle, yes, Classcraft is one of the applications and websites. It's very good as a gamified app. However, there is no problem to use these apps. The problem with these apps is the following: two problems. The first one is, as you know, like in Classcraft, you have different types of subscription. The one that starts like someone for free, like one plan for free, and then the rest you will need to pay for that. The problem is like the free one is very limited. But if you're going to use the spreadsheet, you can modify it the way you want, and you can add other areas. Also, Classcraft is really good for, I say, maybe elementary school, junior high school. But if you try to use it with higher education, it's a little bit limited. But I like the idea of allowing you to use avatars, and then students will be able to use these avatars. But again, if you want to apply gamification to multiple classes, unfortunately, Classcraft will allow you only one class or two classes, unless you're going to pay like a monthly subscription to have access to more than one class. The last part. Oh yes, Danielle, that's also another question. If we're going to use this spreadsheet, how to use it, or how to show the points for students, that will be the last part of our workshop today that I'm going to start like in a few seconds. Yes, Asma, like Classcraft is a good application that can be used, and I am not aware, there are other applications, like in fact, that can be used. The problem with the other applications, they are more into sales and marketing departments. So they are used like for a professional, very professional purposes, and they require institutional subscription, so not a person. But Classcraft is the only one, to the best of my knowledge, that is completely dedicated to education. Now let's see this part. Thank you, Danielle. And yep, thank you, Asma. And that's to be the last part, which is like some tips. First of all, if you are going to apply gamified class, and that would answer Daniel's question, please, when you start the class, you may start every class with showing up the spreadsheet and the leaderboard. So what I do when I activate the overhead projector, the first thing that I show them, not the PowerPoint of today's class, not anything else. The very first thing that I start with is the spreadsheet. And it's very important when you show them the spreadsheet is to add spirit to this spreadsheet. To add spirit means it's not just you show them the spreadsheet and then tell them, okay, you have 2 minutes, check your position or your rank in the leaderboard. No, you will need to be like a commentator, you know, like those like game commentator. So when you start, for example, and then you would say, you see, so today the spreadsheet, let me show you the spreadsheet. Now, Amanda is on top, but you know what? There is only like a very small difference between Amanda and John. And John is just 5 points away from Amanda. John, if you summarize the end of the class today, so you will get on top of the leaderboard. And then you start to go like, you know, like you comment on some people and see and show them the difference. By doing this, you are benefiting students in 2 ways. The first one is, as I mentioned, you are adding spirit. You show them, yes, there is a competition. You are doing a good job. And for those who are not doing a good job, you still have a chance to do it. So you are adding spirit to this. And the other thing is you are teaching students how to read this spreadsheet. And I will tell you from my personal experience, it happens so many times that students change their plans. They change their plans in order to get, you know, like higher points. So what happens if I commented on someone and I tell him, for example, if you manage to summarize the class content in 60 seconds at the end, believe it or not, you will move from number 4 to number 2. So that person who's coming to the class and maybe he's not ready to focus on whatever you are doing, that will be a chance for him to focus on whatever is being covered in the class in order to summarize it at the end. So like the way, it's not just you show it to them on screen, but you will need to give them that kind of spirit. You challenge them, you tell them where they are. That's one of the ways of introducing this spreadsheet. Remember, it's in the beginning of every class, or maybe if you are teaching like twice a week, so it could be like in the beginning or the end of the week, it's up to you. Once you introduce this sheet, you will need to minimize the spreadsheet. But down the road, while you are doing something like, for example, you have done an in-class activity, someone did really great. So bring it up again and add the points. So they will see the arrow for that person. For example, the arrow was down, but when you added these points, the arrow has become up. So this means that this person now is in a better shape. So in the very beginning, you show the spreadsheet, and then you're gonna function as a game commentator, and you start to add this sort of, you know, like spirit to this game. And then during the class, if any of the activities in the class are covered, any of these activities like will be covered in this spreadsheet, bring it back and then add the points to those who have finished this in-class activity successfully. And then at the end of the very class, like in the very last 5 minutes, you can open up the marketplace. You open up the marketplace in terms of, so like in the last 5 minutes, who would like to summarize the content? Who would like to answer this question? And you will get 2,000 points. Who would like to ask the other group another question? And if they answer, they will get these sort of 3,000. You see, like you open the marketplace for a competition or a challenge or a task. And you end the class with those who will get these points, or maybe some of the points will be deducted. And like it always becomes really fun when someone would say, oh yes, like in the very last 5 minutes. So they would say, oh yes, I will report on someone who has been using his or her phone during the class. That becomes very fun because they will need to report this, like he should be like an anonymous reporter. So he will send me or on the chat or something. So that could be something like, you know, you are sitting there looking at the leaderboard and all of a sudden 5,000 points have been deducted from your account. Why? Because you were the one who was using the phone. Who reported you? You don't know. It is like, it's always fun. And sometimes students, like they want the easy way to report someone. Other people, like they want the hard way, which is, you know, like to read a book or to present something or to teach others something. So also this could be like something that would happen at the end of the class.
I mean, the tasks here that they have to suit the students. So if they are adults, sometimes we are using that with early teens sometimes. So it's like the type of classes we have. And some other times the class, all of it is running online. So we don't have the face-to-face sessions to complement the reporting. I mean, for those activities where it's like they're supposed to say something or support a colleague or something, sometimes it's just like all running online. So you don't have the very specific, the same things. We need to shift across our classes. Yes.
Yeah, right. You are right. And that's why the price list or the activities that you will include, they are like very flexible. So you can tailor them or put them in a way that will make like that will be in harmony with
So Ahmed,
the
it
way
would really help us yeah, if you describe your class. So how did the instruction go? Was it all online? Did you get to meet them? How many students are there in the setting? If you see them in person, I mean. So if you describe the age group of the students, this will help us understand more, actually.
That's a good question, Ghada. So the examples that I showed in this presentation, they are applicable to face-to-face classes, and I use them in the face-to-face classes. And I have in some classes I have 10 or 12 students. Other classes I have 30, 35 students. I am not using this at all with another class that I have taught for like 1 year, and in this class I had 200 students. So, but I'll never use it like with 200 students. But yeah, like for the face-to-face classes, I had like around between 12 and 30 or 32 students. All the examples and the price list and everything I showed here, they were based on the face-to-face classes. And maybe I focused on that because I'm not sure about like how the situation looks like in Egypt, but here we are back to face-to-face classes in the coming fall. So I thought like this would help like better. For the online class, for the online classes, I have the same number of students, but the only thing is that I modify the price list. Like I modify the items. So some of the items like are not applicable to the online class. One of them is reporting another student because we don't see each other.
Yes.
And yeah, like we do not do that. But however, I replaced this with other items. For example, activating camera is mandatory. And if someone deactivated the camera, so that they will lose points. Also, if for some students they do not have this like really good internet connection, and they ask me not to activate their camera, so this would happen. Like if I asked a question to that person that I don't see, and that person did not respond, so they will lose points. So I modified the list in a way that will suit the like the type of delivery of that class.
That's the point. So we need to keep an eye on the setting of the classroom.
Yes. Absolutely, yes, you are right. You are right. And also again, like the price list will be different from one person to another, and the areas that will be covered in the spreadsheet, as I mentioned, like here, like I put 5 in-class activities, but maybe you will apply this to only 3. That's fine. That's still good. And the last thing here, like, is to draw your attention to some of the challenges. The first one is some students may not participate in the game, or they may participate partially in the game. That's fine. The game manual or having students participate is not mandatory. Maybe some students, they don't want to do this. But again, based on my personal experience, students who will decide in the very beginning of the semester not to participate, like after 2 weeks maybe or something, they will participate. So do not be like disappointed or do not feel down if some of the students like they don't want to participate, but when they see the leaderboard and that sort of competition going on, they most likely they will change their minds. So that's one challenge. The other challenge is you will need to like maintaining the leaderboard is time consuming. It is time consuming. And that's why you will need to you have 2 ways, like, you know, like to meet this challenge. The first one is if you have a like if you have like a student assistant or something like a graduate assistant or or like anyone who can help with this, maintaining the leaderboard, this could be a task for that person. And if not, my recommendation is try to use as I mentioned, the key elements in your course and have these key elements part of your game. So not every in-class activity, not every assessment, no, like just choose the key elements and then include them. And also you can apply this sheet not every week, not every class. It could be like twice a month, 3 times a month. That's fine. Because again, it is time consuming. And finally, some students may demonstrate unsportsmanship behavior. Like some students, like especially like students who are on top of the leaderboard, and then all of a sudden they find themselves like number 12 or number 13. So maybe they will get upset, furious. That's fine. That's a challenge. So you need to know like how to handle them. And my recommendation is to have a private one-to-one talk. Like if they raised any point, like if they showed like they are really upset or furious in the class and they don't like this and they start to attack the game and attack other people who surpassed them, my recommendation is do not start this conversation. Just let them know, yeah, let's talk after the class, or let's meet during office hours and then we're gonna go over your concerns. But try not, because if they start like to attack the game or something, they might influence other people's opinion. But it is better like to address any concerns not in front of all people, just have a private conversation with them, and that will put things in a good shape. Okay, now to agree on this, the next step, what I recommend, like by the end of this workshop, by the end of today, what you need to do is to have access to this spreadsheet, develop and tailor the leaderboard to address the needs of your class. Like how many assessment tools, how many hazards, how many rewards you're going to include. So you can think about that and then add them. And also try to write up the game manual. If you need any help, I am available until July 13th. And please feel free to check with me if you would like me to help with anything. We can do that. Like you can send me an email, or you can send me an email, and then if you have anything, so I'll do my best to answer you. If I am late getting back to you, I truly apologize. It's but I will get back to you definitely. But hopefully, like I won't be that late. And the other thing is, you can also, like in the email, if you feel like you need to meet via Zoom, please let me know. We can schedule time, and then I will walk you through anything you are having any difficulty with. And again, I'm available until July 13th to do so. And that's it. Any questions?
Okay, Dr. Ahmed, it was a pleasure having you today. It seems that nobody has a question for time being. And thank you for being so accessible after the workshop itself. So I think everybody is going to reach you. There's a lot of interest going on in your series of webinars that you've given us. And thank you so much for your your passion to improve our classroom experiences. Inshallah, if you're starting the in-person classes, most probably we're starting in-person classes as well. We still do not have a confirmation, but maybe this fall, a few Egyptian classes are going to go in person again.
Oh, okay. And in case, like, if they are going to be online, that's completely fine. And definitely, yeah, I can help with building up or like modifying some of the things that we covered. And also, Ala, if you think that we may need like like a booster to this like workshop, so it's like a 1 hour session, and then we go over any, like, the purpose of the session if anyone has any questions or anything. So yeah, we can do that. That's also another solution.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ahmed, for your work, your hard work. And it was a pleasure having you, Dr. Ahmed Yusuf from Strasbourg University. And I mean, we can't thank you enough actually for having you today.
Thank you, Ghada. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I wish you all of you like best of luck.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
تصبح على خير everyone. Bye bye.